We're here at the Linquata family home. We're getting ready for Fiesta Sunday, well, Fiesta week next week here in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And the Linquata family has a long history with the Fiesta. First, I'd like for everybody to introduce yourselves, who you are. It'd be great. We'll start here.
Okay, I'm Marie Linquata, and these are my daughter-in-law and grandchildren and my daughter, and this is a very good friend of ours, Grace Guzman.
And I'm Jean Linquata.
Grace Guzmano.
Karen Ryder.
Jessica Linquata. Vanessa Linquata. Rebecca Linquata.
All right, thank you for letting Good Morning Gloucester have the exclusive in getting the behind-the-scenes information on these beautiful pins that I'm sure many people walking through the Fiesta over the years, you see people walking around with these beautiful handmade pins. I don't think anybody's ever covered this as, well, you say a long time ago there was an article about the originator of making the pins.
Yes.
Aunt Josie.
Yep.
But it's been years since there's been attention called to it, so we're going to get the inside scoop here on Good Morning Gloucester, so we thank the Linquata family for having us. And Jean Marie, why don't you give us a little history about Aunt Josie and the family and how she started this?
I don't know how she started, but for as long as I know, she always made the pins for the committee members, and they were very, very special. Only the committee members were able to...
we have Dante in the house, everyone. And it's okay. Right, Dante?
Only the committee members were given the special pins to wear. No family members, nobody else. The only other people that could wear them were the statue carriers or the girls holding the St. Peter sign. So one year when my husband became a member of
And
the committee,
your husband is?
Michael Linquata.
Okay.
He's on the committee. Aunt Josie asked for help because of her arthritis in her hands, so she couldn't sew them anymore. She could pin them, she could cut them, fold them, but she couldn't pin them and sew them the way that they needed to be done. So she asked me to do it.
That was a great honor.
Oh my goodness. So I think one of these, I think this is like one of my first ones that I did. And I would sew them, and then she would garnish them and put the little gold things on them. What is she doing? Come here. So, come here. As it progressed, we tried to be a little bit more creative. She always would holler at me about how much ribbon, the size I was cutting, and how much I would be wasting. So I couldn't cut these too big, I couldn't waste it. She was very particular about how I did it. And every year I would get the call in March.
So you start months in advance to prepare these for the feast.
I did.
I hear it did. What does it mean?
I used to do that when I had Aunt Josie cracking the whip for me. But as you can see, the pins never really changed. So it was more of what design, what color ribbon we wanted to do.
Who chooses the color every year? Who has that honor?
We tried to match it up with what color St. Peter was going to be. And so we started to get a little bit more particular. This year, I think, was like one of the last years that we did without, we knew he was going to be mint green, so we started doing it that color, and the same with the peach. But we would now wait for the pins to be designed, and I would get the pins and then decide what color to make the ribbons so that they would look nice. I think this is this the year Aunt Josie passed away?
2006.
And that's the one I don't have, right?
Yeah, because this is...
Right, 2006. Yeah, Aunt Josie passed away that year, and I went to the hospital room. And I had to show her the design and ask her, do you like this? And she said yes. And she held my hand, and we made a pin. And she waited for that And that was her big, that's what she waited to do every single year. Let me see the design, what are we gonna do this year? And every year she did less and less, but it was still her honor. I still had her be the person to say, yep, this is good enough. How much ribbon did you use? Don't make those tails so long. So it was a big honor, and she always pushed me to have them done before May. And then Grace started working with me when she heard Fiesta Friday,
Yeah.
Fiesta Thursday,
Yes.
that I was gonna go home and
And work on pins, and I'm like, by yourself? And she's
it
like,
was for the walkers,
Yeah.
not for the committee members.
So Grace, your husband is also a committee member.
Yes.
Why don't you, and his name is
Anthony
Cosmano?
Yes. Yes, and so I said to her, you can't go home and do these pins by yourself. What are you, crazy?
Well,
And I said to her, I'm pretty crafty. Do you trust me? And she was like, yeah.
And
okay, let's go."
outside again, invited into the Linquata family. Wow.
well, the
Pressure,
girls-
Grace,
The
pressure.
girls would be there helping me
Right.
pin.
Right.
My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law cut all the ribbon.
Do the big job. That's
They-
a big job.
That is a big job.
They cut all the ribbon.
And
and
How many
they
yards of
folded it.
ribbon do you think you buy to do a batch for 1 year?
I don't know.
About this much.
The Italian measurement is this much. A little of this, a little of that. I love
She just buys
that.
a
I love
bowl
it,
and she-
Jessica.
It's a bowl, yeah.
Right. So, and we always have extra. So my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law cut the ribbon. And of course, my girls have done, you name it.
Yes.
Delivering, picking up. One of the silliest things was I always used the pens Aunt Josie gave me.
Thank you.
Until they all complained that their thumbs were indented and bleeding
Well,
because we didn't.
and they all have fingernails now too, and you
And-
can't, those pins were so dead
Yeah.
that you couldn't get them.
Yeah, it's
So
hard.
we-
It's hard to part with
Yeah.
stuff like
They
that.
Yeah.
were
they were
old pins,
old.
but
Yeah.
Aunt Josie gave them, so I'm like, well, no, I have to use these pins, and they're like, we'll buy new ones.
with the rounded heads
Yeah.
on them, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't.
It'd be easy to put
The
the
little
food,
balls
yeah.
on it.
Because back then they didn't even have the
But
balls.
as long as they were
Yeah, I
flat,
remember
it
my
was hard to
grandmother.
work with them. I use a thimble. When
Yeah.
I'm pinning them, I use a thimble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as straight as my mother-in-law's hands are. She goes, I think I can still do it.
No,
So,
Marie does a lot of work for us. She
Yeah.
honestly does,
And-
and it's a
and
big
Karen
time
Ann
saver.
does, the two of them.
Absolutely.
so we've evolved into a team.
That's wonderful.
So they do their part, we do our part. My delivery girls are in the back.
Everybody has a job.
They all have a job. The sewing machine, we've gone through
Four sewing machines.
4 sewing machines. How many needles? Because the needle will hit on the pin, and
Yeah.
that
How
will
many?
break it.
How many do you make each year? So how many committee members are there?
We do 22 for the committee, 22 to 24 for the committee, and then
There's like 27, 28.
28
Walkers.
to 30
Yeah.
for the statue
Right.
carriers. Statue carriers, and then if there's some left over, because that's something you can never tell how many there's going to be. So I try to have enough for the kids that are carrying St. Peter's sign. So the statue carriers, Aunt Josie, her son Joel, asked me one year, it was this year, if I could make the pins for them, because they wanted them. And I did it, and Aunt Josie was kind of a little upset.
Because that was changing tradition, correct?
Yeah, but I did it, and they really, they felt privileged to get it.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
But we couldn't make it, that year I made it the same color as the committee, and then I was like, no, you can't do that. So I make theirs every year, red, white, and green, and we pin it on them Sunday morning before they go. And from what I've heard, just like the committee members, the statue carriers save theirs.
Oh yeah, Adam Orlando has a shrine of them. He just has all of them lined up, so.
That's fantastic. We'll have to call Adam and get a photograph of that. That'll be really cool to see
Oh,
his
he
collection,
definitely
right?
has it.
Yeah.
So